Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VISBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to VISBDC Webinar Tuesdays with SBA. We have collaborated to bring you this series of webinars to help USVI small business owners further connect and benefit from what the SBA PR and USVI District Office has to offer. Just a friendly reminder to put your questions in the chat, and they will be addressed by the presenting team either in the chat or later during the question and answer segment. A copy of the presentation is available upon email request to info@visbdc.org. Senior Area Manager Wayne Huddleston, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, and thank you to everyone at SBDC for hosting. My name is Wayne Huddleston. I'm the Senior Area Manager for the U.S. Small Business Administration here in the Virgin Islands. Those of you who may have joined these in the past know that the SBDC will host regular weekly webinars for which we provide information on SBA programs and services. The typical format for these is that we provide information that cover about 20-30 minutes, and then we preserve time at the end to answer any questions you have either on that topic or anything else related to SBA. If you've been in other presentations also, you'll know that I typically am sharing my screen, but unfortunately my laptop is having a camera issue right now. So when I try to, I'm going to test it one more time just to be sure, because sometimes it will work, but usually it just doesn't, it just does not work. So let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's still showing a blank screen. So I apologize for that, but the important thing is that you not see my face, but that you understand the information and the slides that I'm sending. And of course, I can always still answer any questions. Before I begin, also, I want to let everybody know I have a colleague online with me as well, Lisa Shamley-Quee. She's also in the Virgin Islands on St. Thomas, and both her and I will be available at the end to answer any questions. This presentation is really just a general overview of SBA. I'm going to talk about some of our major programs. I'm not going to go into significant detail, but I'm going to give you a broad overview of what SBA is, our role here in the Virgin Islands, and how we work with our resource partners and others to offer our services to help small businesses start, grow, and expand and recover here in the territory. So overall, we are a federal agency. So the Small Business Administration was established in the 1950s. I believe it was 1953 under the Eisenhower administration. The SBA was established as a federal entity to consolidate a number of different programs that had been authorized by Congress under one agency with the sole purpose of helping small businesses start and grow in the United States, because we know that tomorrow's big businesses are today's small businesses, and anything we can do to assist in the development and growth of small businesses in the United States helps our economy grow and helps ensure that we remain the largest economy in the United States. And so we want to make sure our services are promoting that to the extent possible. I'm going to talk about several broad areas that we help with. The first one I'm going to talk about is our technical support providers, because anyone who's starting a business or just reaching out to SBA for help, I always suggest one of the first places you go is to our technical support providers. Here in the Virgin Islands, we have several that are actively involved in the territory in helping small businesses. The first, of course, is the Small Business Development Center. They are our host today. Some people oftentimes will confuse the SBDC and the SBA. So the SBA is the federal agency that provides the oversight and funding for programs, but the SBDC is administered separately. It is a UVI administered program. In other states, they're typically administered by a university. They provide the hands-on technical advice and support to help you start and grow your business. So anywhere from, I have an idea and I have no idea where to begin with my idea, you can get that one-on-one assistance to help you think through the feasibility of your ideas, do the market research that's necessary, help develop the business plan. They will not do all this for you, but they will help you along the way and make sure you have the right resources and coaching and counseling and consulting services available to you free of charge. And of course, they also offer many webinars like this. They're very active in the community. They have offices both on St. Croix and St. Thomas, and also go to St. John as well. Highly encourage you, no matter where you are with your business, whether you're just thinking about starting a business or you've been in business 20 years, it's always good to make an appointment with the SBDC, sit down with one of their advisors, talk about where you are as a business, where you'd like to be, where you'd like to grow, and see if they can offer some assistance. You know, at worst case scenario, they may say, you know, you're on the right track. We don't have any additional recommendations for you at this time. Or they may say, if you're looking for funding, they may have a contact with a lender. They may be able to help you with shipping your product overseas or addressing an HR issue. They are very well trained, highly experienced, and again, those services are free of charge. The other one active here in the territory is called SCORE. This is more of a mentoring and coaching organization. SCORE in the U.S. Virgin Islands is tied closely with, it's an affiliate of the Florida chapter in Broward County, Florida, which is a very large chapter, has a lot of SCORE mentors, a part of that group, representing a wide variety of industries and expertise. If you go to score.org, you can find a lot of information about what they have to offer. They have a lot of free templates and resources and workshops as well. But you can also sign up to get some mentorship from one of the SCORE mentors. And that can be here in the Virgin Islands, or perhaps they would match you up with someone in Florida, but they can have you matched up with someone who knows your expertise, knows your industry very well, and can provide a lot of support and coaching along the way. Now, with both of these organizations, you should know that your information is kept confidential. They do not, they cannot share your information with others, certainly not with competitors. They are bound by an agreement similar to what you would have with an attorney, that the information you provide is confidential. You don't have to worry about that being shared with others or them competing with you. And finally, another organization that serves this area is called the Veterans Business Outreach Center. This focuses specifically on veterans and veteran-owned businesses and families of veterans as well who wish to start and grow a business. The VBOC that serves this region is in Region 2, which is up in New Jersey. However, they do have a staff member in Puerto Rico who, prior to COVID times, would come down here in person and offer seminars and meet with individuals who are starting and growing a business. They also cooperate closely with our other resource partners here in the territory, but they are very in tune with specific resources available to veterans and families of veterans who wish to start and grow business. Still want to show them as another resource. These technical support providers are really the first place we recommend most people start when they're seeking assistance from the Small Business Administration. So next thing I'm going to talk about is federal contracting. Since we are a federal agency, we are closely aligned with other agencies as well, and helping them reach small business owners, but also helping small business owners understand how to reach federal agencies as well to do business. So I often say, if you're only going to have one customer as a business owner, if that customer can be the federal government, you are set, because the federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the entire world. There are many businesses out there that have no other customers other than the federal government, and they are quite successful and quite lucrative. So if you can enter the federal contracting market, that is a very good thing to do as a business, although it's not necessarily intuitive. It is public funds. It does come with a lot of controls, as you can imagine, to ensure that public funds are spent on entities that the public would like their funds spent on. So there are a lot of controls in place, and doing business is not as easy as just knocking on the door of a federal building or a military installation and say, I'd like to provide this service. So we help you in that process by understanding the different processes you need to go through to register what we call SAM, to build your profile, to make the connections with federal contracting officers. We also help federal contracting officers identify local businesses that are registered in that process, be able to make those connections. We also offer what we call certification programs. So the federal government has goals of providing 23% of all government contracting dollars to small businesses that are certified in SBA's contracting programs. Now, each agency may have different percentages on those goals. For instance, many agencies have smaller goals to provide for veteran-owned businesses of maybe 5%, but if you're the National Guard, perhaps your goal is higher, maybe it's 20, 30%. But at the end of the day, those contracting officers are trying to reach small business owners that are certified under these programs. They are very powerful tools to help small business owners compete with other large businesses in the federal contracting. It gives them a leg up. And so highly encourage you, if you are interested in learning more about SBA's programs for federal contracting, how to enter that marketplace, visit certified.sba.gov. We also have a couple of webinars throughout the year. I'd say more than a couple. I'd say usually around quarterly, we have a webinar on federal contracting. We bring down federal contracting business opportunity specialists, we call them, at SBA, who will provide information on how to navigate the federal contracting realm, how to apply for and secure the certifications necessary to help you win contracts. There's a lot of good information there should you wish to do business with the federal government. So probably what we are most known for, though, is SBA loans. Probably most people are familiar with SBA through the term SBA loans. SBA loans, with the exception of disaster, which I will touch upon later on in the presentation, are not direct loans to borrowers. SBA loans are guaranteed loans with lenders. SBA, as a federal agency, what we do is we leverage the good credit rating of the federal government to provide guarantees to lenders in hopes of encouraging them to provide a loan to a borrower either under more favorable terms or in cases where they may not have been able to provide a loan in the first place. So that reduces that risk for the lender, which in turn you can work with to secure your loan directly from a lender under competitive terms, perhaps lower down payments, and gives a lot of extra incentive there to those lenders. SBA loans can be used for a variety of purposes. We have a number of different programs that lenders can make use of to get a loan done. They can use it to help someone launch or grow a business on a startup, purchase a small business, get revolving line of credit, purchase land or real estate, or exporting or renovating. There are all sorts of purposes that a lender could use our guarantee to help you secure your loan. However, loans are not necessarily, just because the federal government guarantees it, doesn't necessarily mean that it's an automatic that they will give you a loan. A lender is still responsible for following good underwriting procedures and evaluation of a loan. So if someone comes to a lender and they've never been in business before, do not have financial statements, perhaps they also have poor credit, the likelihood of getting a loan from a lender is very low, even with an SBA guarantee. So someone who goes to a lender will still need a business plan, will still need to have financial statements and expense sheets and projections on how that loan is going to be used. Now, here in the Virgin Islands, every major lender is an SBA lender, is authorized to provide SBA loans. That includes Popular, Oriental, First Bank, Merchants Bank on St. Thomas, Bank of St. Croix on St. Croix, as well as the Economic Development Bank of the Virgin Islands. All of them are eligible to provide loans to Virgin Islanders. However, there are also lenders outside the territory who may wish to provide a loan to someone in the territory, and many of them are registered in what we call lender match. So if you go to sba.gov/lender match, you can input basic information about your needs, about the amount of loan you require, how much money you make as a business, how long you've been in business, and then you can hit submit. It's a very easy platform to use. It doesn't ask a ton of questions. You don't have to upload any documents. This is simply a simple qualification tool for lenders. Once you hit submit, your request for a loan will go out to every lender who has said, I would like to look at prospective deals in the Virgin Islands. Once they see that, then they have 24 to 48 hours to say, I'm not interested or I am interested. And if they are interested, they hit yes, and they are connected with you as a borrower. If after 48 hours, no lender has expressed interest, you will be notified of that by the lender match system, and you'll be connected with our resource partners for additional support, because our resource partners know lenders here locally. They understand what they're going to be looking for. They know lenders outside the territory as well, and they may be able to address the reasons why no lender had responded that they were interested in talking to you more about your loan. What I have noticed by using lender match is oftentimes if people are receiving or not receiving any reply from a lender, it's typically because they didn't very completely fill out the lender match fields. So if someone put in, I just need $50,000, they didn't put in any other additional information about whether collateral is available or what their annual revenues are and all sorts of things, then a lender is just typically, in most cases, going to say, I'm very busy. If they don't have the time to input that information, then I don't have the time to look at their loan. So I highly encourage you to fill out every field completely, and that greatly increases your likelihood of getting a response from a lender who may be interested in looking at it more. As I mentioned earlier, just because someone gets a guarantee or just because a lender receives a guarantee on a loan from SBA, it does not necessarily mean that that approval is automatic. We do not guarantee 100% of the loan, except in a very rare disaster circumstances, but the vast majority of loans that are SBA loans from SBA are guaranteed anywhere from 50% to 85% of the loan value, depending on the kind of loan that it is. So the lender still does have risk, and they are required to mitigate that risk as much as possible, not only to preserve their dollars as an institution, but also to preserve the public dollars that we've guaranteed. So we provide that guarantee, but we're not very eager to give away the public's money. We do want to ensure that it's leveraged in a way that can facilitate more lending, but we still want that money to be paid off and people to repay their loans. So there are things that must be done. We rely largely on typical underwriting procedures at the bank. We have some basic expectations, but typically every bank is going to evaluate your creditworthiness using what we call the 5 C's. These are common areas that banks look at. Now, underneath the 5 C's, character, cash flow, collateral, capitalizations, and conditions, each bank will have a different way of looking at those 5 C's. But it is very important before you talk to a lender that you have a basic understanding of what those 5 C's are, so you can address those and understand what a lender is going to be looking at before you start that process. They're going to be looking at your character. Part of that is with your credit score. So you're going to want to be able to know your credit score before you talk to a lender, address any concerns that come up as to why there might be poor reports on your credit report. Also, when it comes to character, they're also just going to be assessing you as a person in every interaction. So when you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Do you have a criminal history? Which not necessarily would prevent you from getting a loan, but certainly hiding that fact from a lender could. They want you to be honest. They want to make sure you have a good reputation in the community. So they'll be assessing that. They'll be assessing your cash flow as a business. What do your financial statements look like? What does each monthly cash flow statement look like? Are you losing money each month, or are you gaining money? Do you have enough revenue coming in to pay off a loan? Do you have collateral? Do you have either a building or land or cash or something to put up for a loan to say that if I stop payments, I have these reserves or these collateral that I can pledge to you, that if I go bad on the loan, then the lender can take collateral and recover their losses in a loan. Capitalizations, your financial statements such as your balance sheet and others to show what assets you have, what debts you have as an entity, to ensure that you're not taking on a loan that puts you in a unfavorable position as a business owner. And then just general market conditions. They're going to evaluate the market conditions, and they want to see that you understand the market conditions as they apply to you, your unique business as well, because that can have a big impact as to whether they should provide a loan or not. Now, outside of loans, there are other areas to access capital as well that SBA helps. Of course, SBA-backed loans, if you want to get more information on our different programs, you can go to sba.gov, funding programs loans, and get more information on that. We also help provide funding to what we call small business investment companies, which provide venture capital to firms. These are typically firms that are looking for businesses that aren't necessarily ripe for funding in a traditional sense from a lender, but perhaps it's the type of business that is a little bit more risky, but has a high opportunity for growth. So there may be some investors who'd be interested in investing in that business in return for some ownership of that business, but provide the capital needed to grow at a time without saddling that business with debt. There's also opportunities to get grant funds from what we call the Small Business Innovative Research Grants. Now, there are not grants available to start a business. And typically these grants from federal entities are not for your general run-of-the-mill business. You are not from any federal entity going to get a grant to start a restaurant, for instance, or a landscaping company. But if a business is engaging in technological advancement, or if they are involved in emerging technology, or they fill a unique need that is established by a federal entity, then perhaps they can provide some grant dollars to help you grow your program or service and help you become commercially viable. So you can get more information on that on sbir.gov, and we help in that process as well. And then finally, surety bonds. We do provide guarantees to surety bond providers. These are typically used in the construction industry to ensure that when you get a contracting project, typically local governments or large institutions are going to want to see that there is some sort of bonding available, so that they can be assured if you went out of business or you did not complete or comply with the terms of the contract, that they will have some sort of recourse through the bond. And we have partners who provide surety bonding that through the SBA guarantee through 2 Virgin Islanders here. And then we also provide assistance in trade and exporting that is especially applicable here in the Virgin Islands, as we are so close to other islands. I mean, very close to the British Islands. It's considered a foreign entity, and there are many other foreign entities down island. Our largest guarantee, as I mentioned, our guarantee can go all the way up to 90% on a loan. Our largest guarantee is reserved for loans that will assist businesses in exporting their products to new markets outside of the country. We highly encourage businesses that are all possible of doing that to do that. 2/3 of the world's purchasing power is in foreign countries. 96% of the consumers live outside the United States. So we want to do everything we can to help small businesses enter those markets. You can get a lot more information on that at sba.gov. We have a business guide there to help you assess your readiness in shipping overseas and provide a list of resources that are available. We have what are called trade and exporting centers, where we have SBA personnel who can help you connect with trade representatives in other countries, or Department of Commerce and others to help you work through and navigate the bureaucracies in other countries to help you export your products to them. And then finally, a big area where we do help is disaster. And here in the Virgin Islands, for better or worse, that's probably how most people interact with the SBA, either through assistance that is provided after a natural disaster, such as a hurricane, or really the entire country has become a lot more familiar with SBA with COVID, because the pandemic allowed the entire country to be declared a disaster with regards to SBA funding. So that opened up the door to many businesses to receive what we call economic injury disaster loans, but also new programs that were authorized during COVID-19, such as the Paycheck Protection Program, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, Shutter Venue Operators Grant. As I mentioned before, this is the only time where SBA provides funds directly to a business owner or individual. All other times it's done through a lender, but in times of disaster, we recognize the need for speed. And so we try to get those funds directly to business owners as quickly as possible, leveraging our lending partners when available and when it makes sense, but also providing loans directly as well to the best extent possible. So they can be used for all sorts of purposes. Many people, of course, after Hurricanes Irma and Maria, used SBA disaster loans to repair their house, but also their businesses as well. It can be used for real estate, personal property, what we call economic injury. So perhaps you did not receive any physical damage to your personal property or your business location, but perhaps because of a disaster, especially for COVID, you received economic injury in that you were just not able to operate your business profitably because of the downturn in the economy due to COVID. So we offer loans in those situations as well. Also, active duty military, if people are called overseas and deployed, perhaps they're in the National Guard or Reserves, and that deployment impacts a small business, then that small business can be eligible to receive loans to help get through a tough period because of that active duty deployment. So our role overall, as I mentioned, is not to just provide general loans just for the heck of it, but to provide loans that are not covered by insurance and other recoveries, especially with a natural disaster such as hurricanes. Those of you who received loans in the past from SBA will know that there's a requirement to make sure you have insurance going forward. SBA is not intended to be an insurance provider. They are intended to just help bridge the gap so that people can rebuild when insurance was not sufficient. And these loans are available to nonprofits as well and individual homeowners, which is different from our regular lending program. I want to give you just a brief overview of some of our more recent disaster lending programs and disaster grant programs. So since the COVID-19 pandemic has begun, and this is just for the Virgin Islands, there have been over 3,400 Paycheck Protection Program loans that were provided to business owners here in the territory for over $202 million. An important note on that is the Paycheck Protection Program, known as PPP, was a forgivable loan. So it essentially operated as a grant, even though technically it was not a grant. It wasn't automatic that loan is forgivable. But in the vast majority of cases, if you took out the loan and used it for the purpose in which the borrower said it was going to be using it for, which was primarily to pay staff and to keep them employed and to help with mitigation efforts in a business that are directly related to COVID-19, then you just simply need to apply for that forgiveness through your lender, and that loan is forgiven, essentially turning that into a grant. Almost 90% of loans across the country have been forgiven, and that number is similar here in the Virgin Islands. So you can imagine $202 million in the form of a grant to thousands of businesses here in the territory. That made a significant impact here in the territory. Now, there are also economic injury disaster loans, which are not grants. These are loans intended to help small business owners continue to get through a rough period. They do require repayment. Now, these loans are deferred for 24 months. They come under terms that are very favorable, a 30-year term at a very low interest rate. We've had over 1,800 of these loans approved in the territory for almost $130 million. And then we have additional programs, 424, what we call targeted and supplemental advance, restaurant revitalization fund, and shared venue operators grants. The rest of those funds are also free dollars. I say free, they come out of taxpayer resources, but they do not have to be repaid. Those economic injury disaster loan advances and supplemental and targeted advances, those are funds that were provided to small business owners here in the territory. Same with restaurant revitalization funds. 28 restaurants and food service providers received almost $6 million of grant money to continue operations and to keep them going through a tough period. And then there were 4 shuttered venue operator grants provided to entities here in the territory. It's a significant amount. The only part of which technically has to be repaid is the economic injury disaster loan of $129 million. But overall, over $342 million have been provided in the Virgin Islands, the vast majority of which does not have to be repaid. And this number is significant. Oftentimes, federal entities will report grant dollars awarded to the territory or grant dollars awarded to the local government to disperse to help with recovery. And you'll hear large amounts, hundreds of millions of dollars. And in most cases, those are allocated, but they're not dispersed. Every single dollar that's on the screen here now was dispersed into accounts for business owners here in the territory. It's not just what was approved or allocated, but this is what was actually dispersed to those entities. And one thing I'd like to note, when it comes to the economic injury disaster loan, here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, there were more disaster loans distributed to Virgin Islanders when you adjust our area for size and population than any other territory or state in the country. So I believe our business owners have done a really fantastic job of taking advantage of that resource here and making sure they got the applications in. And I think everyone's done a really good job here. Finally, going forward, as I said, I'm going to wrap this up. This is just a very, very general overview of what we do. I did not go into a lot of detail, but you can always ask us questions if you have at the end of this presentation. We can answer any question you have, but you can also reach out to us individually if there is something we can assist with an SBA program or one of your loans. Our cell phone numbers are there. The first way I always suggest people get in touch with us, though, is through email. As you can imagine, I'm not answering the phone here while I'm in a presentation, and Lisa and I both have other things we're doing throughout the day, so we can't always answer the phone when you call. And sometimes the Virgin Islands cell phone towers don't work as well as we like anyway. But if you send us an email, we have a written record that enables us to also bring in other people who may be able to assist. I just did that this morning right before this presentation. Someone needed assistance with securing some documents on an old SBA loan. I didn't have access to them, but I knew someone in the States who could have access to them, and we routed them to that right direction. So always, even if you call, I'm typically going to ask you to send me an email as well, and it helps me be able to route that. So use our emails where you can. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our website. There's a lot of fantastic information there. You don't always have to wait for a webinar to get your question answered. You can ask it at any time. So with that, that's it. I'd like to just open it up to questions to see what we may be able to answer for you on SBA programs. And we'll wait for a while. If there aren't any questions, we'll end early, but we'll, if you have any in chat, and Lisa, I haven't checked chat, but if someone could tell me if there's anything there we need to answer, I'd be happy to do so.
No, Wayne, chat is empty at this point.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I'll utilize this time just to interject with some information in case someone is typing. The VI SBDC has so much in store for USVI small business owners. Visit our website at www.visbdc.org. Download the VI SBDC app on your mobile device from the appropriate app store. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google My Business, and subscribe to the VI SBDC YouTube channel for new uploads of our on-demand webinars. I have a few upcoming webinars. This evening, we have SCORE at 7 p.m. with Branding 101. And February 3rd at 11 a.m., We have business financing in the USVI Startup Popular Program. On February 9th at 11 a.m., we have IRB with tax basics for farmer, fishers, and other small businesses. On February 10th at 11 a.m., we have the USVI EDA Economic Development Bank with microcredit and intermediary relending loan programs. So I still don't see any questions in the chat, so I guess it's okay for us to sign off. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for your time. And on behalf of the entire VI SBDC network, have a great day.
There is before you end it, there is a question I noticed in chat. We can quickly answer. There was a question, how do you handle certifications for SAMs? So I assume this is a question regarding the system for award management. Now that is largely, it's pretty easy to navigate the system for award management. So if you're not already registered in SAM, getting registered in SAM is pretty easy on a website. If you just visit sam.gov, they can walk you through that process. If you have needs for assistance in that registration process, on that site, there is something called the contact information for what's called the Federal Service Desk. And this is a phone number and an email where you can contact people who do, really their primary job is to help people with SAM registration issues and can walk you through any part of that process. Now, if you're interested in receiving certifications, whether if you are a, for instance, a woman-owned business, or your business resides in a hub zone, and you would like to apply for 8A, and I see that SBA certifies for 8A in hub zone, I encourage you to visit certify.sba.gov. And I'll type that in the chat here. That is the place to go to get information to help you assess whether you are ready for a program such as the 8A program, or you meet the requirements to be certified as a woman-owned business and others. It gives you a lot of great information there, but then also provides you the first steps on how to get started and start that process. Almost everything can be done through, really everything can be done through certify.sba.gov to give you information on how to complete that. Of course, if you need assistance, you can reach out to one of us and we can connect you with what we call business opportunity specialists that can help you in that process if you're having some difficulty in it. A lot can be done there. I see another question. Can you repeat or provide the information for a nonprofit organization? I'm not sure what that is asking, but when it comes to nonprofits, typically the only way that that SBA interacts with nonprofits is through our disaster loans, our economic injury disaster loans and other grant programs related to COVID were eligible, it could be applied to nonprofits as well. But otherwise, SBA does not assist nonprofits. SBA is intended to assist small businesses and for-profit entities. So most of our programs do not apply to nonprofits, but there are some of our disaster programs that do. And someone is asking for the contact screen. Sure, I'd be happy to share that. Let me go back to that. Okay, should be able to see the screen now. And this is the contact information screen. And I see Lisa shared our emails. So anything else we can answer before ending today?
That appears to be it, Wayne.
All right. Well, thank you.